Built as a North Staffordshire Railway (NSR) light railway, the Waterhouses branch linked remote Staffordshire Mullins villages to the market town of Leek. Authorised under the 1898 Light Railways Order, the single-track line was opened in summer 1905. The NSR mainly wanted a standard gauge route to its Calden Low limestone quarries, previously served by narrow gauge, while local farmers sought better access for milk and produce. The branch followed the route of the Hamps and Manifold rivers and intersected the narrow gauge Leek and Manifold Valley Railway at Waterhouses, forming a rural transport network. The branch climbed through open moorland to its high point of 1,063 feet, 324 metres, between Ipstons and Winkhill. The heavily graded line required deep cuttings and sturdy stone bridges. One survives near Calden Low. Key locations along the 9.5-mile route included Leek Brook Junction, the southern junction south of Leek where it diverged from the Churnet Valley, Uttoxeter to Macclesfield line. Winkhill, opened 1910 for a small hamlet and quarry workers. Ipstons, largest intermediate station on the moors, 1,000 feet summit nearby. Bradnip, served the village of Bradnip, opened the 5th of June 1905, closed the 30th of September 1935. Calden Low, a workman's halt for the quarries, opened 1905, closed 1935. Waterhouses, northern terminus and junction with the 2 feet 6 inches Leek and Manifold Valley Light Railway. These stations were lightly built, often simple halts, and saw only modest traffic. Sundays had no trains and even market day services were limited. The branch was never a financial success, and passenger trains were withdrawn in September 1935. By then, much of the agricultural, milk and goods, traffic had dwindled. General freight facilities at Bradnip, Ipstons and Winkhill were removed in the 1950s to 60s, leaving only limestone trains. Once the Calden Low quarries closed to rail traffic in 1988, the branch was formally mothballed. By then, the northern connection to the L&M VLR at Waterhouses had already ended by 1943 when the very light railway closed too. Since 2010, the line has seen new life as a heritage railway. In 2009, Mullins and City Railways, MCR, took a 150-year lease on the track bed and refurbished the Calden branch. Weekend steam services by the nearby Churnet Valley Railway, CVR, first ran over the line in November 2010. Unfortunately, proposed commercial freight from the quarries fell through after 2014. The CVR then negotiated to purchase the branch. By 2020, the CVR had bought the lease from MCR and now operates heritage trains to Ipstons. Volunteers are extending the line northward. The former track bed into Leek is being restored, aiming to reconnect with a new station to the south of the former North Staffordshire Railways, which is now occupied by a supermarket and patrol station. It was hoped the station will be built and ready by late 2024. The CVR's Reconnect Leek project involves local council support and lottery grants. In summary, the old Waterhouses branch is once again in use, this time for preservation, with enthusiasts eyeing eventual further extensions, and MCR still holding a long-term freight option, often dubbed the City and Mullins Railway scheme. Today, the track bed is still in use as far as Ipston's station site, although to the north towards Winkhill and Calden Low. The track bed is heavily overgrown with tracks still down but out of use. The track bed between Calden Low and Waterhouses is now part of the Manifold Way Trail between Waterhouses and Hume End in Derbyshire. The track bed between Calden Low and Waterhouses has been abandoned, with a part of it now occupied old quarries and lakes near Calden Works and a car park for the Manifold Way Trail off Earlsway where the bridge back towards Leek still exists but out of use and likely in need of either replacing or repairs before it could be reopened. Only time will tell.
So down there is Leek Brook Station. This served the small village of Leek Brook, just on the outskirts of the town of Leek in Staffordshire. This is where most of the branch lines in the area on this line came and went. So, in other words, this is where you could alight for services to Waterhouses, onto Hulme End and Hartington, the Leek and Manifold Light Railway, and then obviously the Leek to Stoke line via Endon and Fenton Manor. So we can see the station building is long gone, but the signal box survives. What looks like a little waiting building does next to it. Then we got the one platform, which would have been the Leek Macclesfield bound platform, but as we can see, the Uttoxeter bound platform is long gone. You can't access this, as this is privately not authorised for the public to use or go to, unless it's alighting while the trains turn round towards Leek. But as we can see, it survives. And if we pan around here under the bridge, we have the tunnel back towards Cheddleton and Uttoxeter. As we can see, the rails split into one to go through the tunnel, then they become two again as they come out under the bridge. As we see, we face towards Leek Brook station, and this is where our journey on the Churnet Valley Railway ends in terms of heritage for the time being, as we'll be heading now into the town of Leek to find the old station site. So this was Leek Brook, let's move on. So we're here at the site of Bradnop Station. This served the small village of Bradnop in Staffordshire, near Leek. So we can see the station site has long since been demolished. The line we can see coming through is part of the Churnet Valley Railway. We're facing that way towards Leek, along the former Leek to Waterhouses line. And we face that way back towards Waterhouses. So, this was Bradnop Station. We'll now head on to the next one. So we're here at the site of Ipstone Station. This served the village of Ipstones in Staffordshire on the Waterhouses to Leek line. As we can see, the track bed back towards Waterhouses is overgrown now, with the cutting quite heavily overgrown, as you can see below, where we face back towards Waterhouses. If we cross here, we face directly back towards Leek, along what is part of the Churnet Valley Railway's Ipstones loop line. I'll find out more information off the Churnet Valley Railway themselves, but I believe they're looking to try and get this railway line reopened up to as far as where we were previously. As we can see, there's the track heading back towards Leek and Leek Brook from the Leek to Waterhouses line. So this was Ipstone Station. We'll now head on to the next one. So we're here at the site of Winkhill Station. This is the hamlet of Winkhill in Staffordshire. As you can see, the track bed back towards Waterhouses is heavily overgrown, with us facing that way back towards Waterhouses. And we face that way back towards Leek. As you can see, the track bed here is also overgrown. The station itself is now a private residence. So this was Winkhill Station. We'll now head on to the next one. So we're here roughly at the site of Colden Low Holt. This is the village of Colden in Staffordshire and was on the Leek to Waterhouses line. As we can see, the site is now overgrown. We're facing that way back towards Leek along the line, and we face that way back towards Waterhouses. As you can see, this was quite in the middle of nowhere, originally built to serve the Cemex work and quarries, but has since been mothballed, and I believe the track either is still down or has been lifted. Can't really see with all these trees, sadly. So this was Colden Low Holt Station. We'll now head on to the next one. So guys, we're here at Waterhouses Station. This is the village of Waterhouses in Staffordshire, and it was the terminus of the Leek to Waterhouses line and the southern terminus of the Leek and Manifold Valley Light Railway up to Hartsholme. As we can see, the station building is still here, or at least the old engine shed is, now in use for a cycle hire. And this building here includes toilets and a small cafe. We're facing that way back towards Leek along the line, and we face that way towards the Manifold Valley. So this was Waterhouses Station.